Briefly, but about the main thing, concise retellings of books. Atomic habits. Small habits may seem insignificant, but they quietly shape the direction of our lives. Every action you repeat becomes a vote for the person you are becoming. Over time, these small actions accumulate, creating powerful and lasting change. This is the central idea behind the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, a practical guide to building good habits, breaking bad ones, and mastering the tiny behaviors that lead to extraordinary results. James Clear explains that success is not the result of one big decision or a dramatic transformation. Instead, it comes from small improvements made consistently over time. These tiny changes may feel almost invisible in the moment, but when repeated daily, they compound into remarkable outcomes. The word atomic has a double meaning in this context. On one hand, it refers to something very small. On the other hand, it represents immense power. Atomic habits are tiny routines or behaviors that, when repeated, create massive impact over months and years. Why habits matter more than motivation? Many people believe that change requires strong motivation or discipline. They wait to feel inspired before taking action. However, motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes depending on mood, energy, and circumstances. Habits, on the other hand, work even when motivation fades. Habits allow us to act automatically. Once a behavior becomes habitual, it requires less effort, less willpower, and less conscious decision-making. This is why habits are so powerful. They free up mental energy and make positive behaviors easier to maintain. James Clear emphasizes that lasting change comes from building systems, not chasing goals. Goals are about outcomes, but systems are about processes. For example, a goal might be to lose weight, but the system includes how you eat, how often you move, and how you manage stress. Goals provide direction, but systems create progress. When you focus only on goals, you may succeed temporarily, but once the goal is achieved, the motivation often disappears. Systems, however, continue working long after the initial goal is reached. The power of 1% improvements. One of the most famous ideas in Atomic Habits is the concept of getting just 1% better every day. A small improvement may feel meaningless, but when compounded over time, it produces exponential growth. If you improve by 1% every day for a year, you end up nearly 37 times better than when you started. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day, your progress declines rapidly. The difference between success and failure often comes down to small daily choices. Reading 1 page per day may not feel impressive, but over a year, it adds up to an entire book. Saving a small amount of money daily can lead to financial stability over time. Short workouts done consistently can transform physical health. The key insight is this: progress is not about intensity, it is about consistency. Habits shape identity. One of the most powerful ideas in the book is that habits are not just about what you do, they are about who you become. Every habit reinforces a particular identity. When you vote for healthy habits, you begin to see yourself as a healthy person. When you write regularly, you start to identify as a writer. When you show up consistently for your work, you reinforce the identity of a professional. James Clear explains that there are 3 levels of behavior change. 1. Outcomes, what you want to achieve. 2. Processes, the habits and systems you follow. 3. Identity, who you believe you are. Most people focus on outcomes. Some focus on processes. The most effective approach is to start with identity. Instead of saying, "I want to run a marathon," you can say, "I am a runner." Instead of, "I want to write a book," you say, "I am a writer." When habits align with identity, they become easier to maintain because you are simply acting in accordance with who you believe you are. How habits work, the habit loop. Every habit follows a simple 4-step loop. 1. Cue. 2. Craving. 3. Response. 4. Reward. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. The craving motivates you to act. The response is the behavior itself. The reward reinforces the habit and teaches your brain that the behavior is worth repeating. Understanding this loop allows you to design habits intentionally rather than relying on willpower. The 4 laws of behavior change. James Clear introduces 4 practical laws for building good habits and breaking bad ones. First law, make it obvious. Good habits should be easy to notice. The more visible a habit is, the more likely you are to follow through. You can redesign your environment to support positive behavior. If you want to eat healthier, place fruits where you can see them. If you want to read more, keep a book on your desk. If you want to practice a skill, remove obstacles that prevent you from starting. Clarity is essential. Vague intentions lead to vague results. Specific plans increase follow-through. Second law, make it attractive. We are more likely to repeat behaviors that feel enjoyable. One effective strategy is to pair a habit you want to build with something you already enjoy. For example, you might listen to your favorite podcast while exercising or enjoy a cup of coffee only while journaling. This creates positive associations and increases motivation. Social environment also plays a major role. We naturally imitate the habits of those around us. Surrounding yourself with people who already have the habits you want makes change easier. Third law, make it easy. The easier a habit is, the more likely it is to stick. Reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for bad ones. Start small. Instead of committing to an hour of exercise, commit to 2 minutes. Instead of writing a full chapter, write 1 paragraph. Once you start, momentum builds naturally. James Clear emphasizes that habits should feel manageable. Master consistency first, then optimize later. Fourth law, make it satisfying. We repeat behaviors that feel rewarding. Immediate rewards help reinforce habits, especially when long-term results take time. Tracking progress, checking off completed habits, and celebrating small wins all provide satisfaction. The feeling of progress keeps motivation alive. Conversely, making bad habits unsatisfying can help break them. Adding accountability or consequences discourages unwanted behaviors. Environment beats willpower. One of the most practical insights from Atomic Habits is that environment often matters more than self-control. Instead of relying on discipline, design your surroundings to make good habits easier and bad habits harder. If unhealthy snacks are within reach, you are more likely to eat them. If your phone is always nearby, distractions increase. Simple changes, like removing temptations or rearranging your space, can dramatically influence behavior. Your environment silently shapes your actions every day. Habit tracking and reflection. Tracking habits increases awareness and accountability. When you measure your behavior, you are more likely to improve it. Habit trackers, calendars, or journals provide visual evidence of progress. Seeing a streak motivates you to keep going. However, perfection is not required. Missing once is a mistake. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. Consistency matters more than perfection. Plateaus and the valley of disappointment. Progress often feels slow at first. Results may not appear immediately, leading many people to give up too early. James Clear calls this phase the valley of disappointment. The key is understanding that habits compound quietly. Breakthroughs often happen after long periods of seemingly insignificant effort. Those who persist eventually see results that others never reach. Mastery and long-term growth. True mastery comes from continuous refinement. Once a habit is established, the goal is not just repetition but improvement. Review your systems regularly. Adjust what no longer works. Focus on long-term sustainability rather than quick wins. The ultimate goal of habits is not perfection but progress. Habits exist to serve your life, not control it. Final thoughts. Atomic Habits teaches that meaningful change does not require radical transformation. It requires patience, awareness, and consistency. Every small habit is a building block of your future. Over time, these tiny actions shape your identity, your success, and your quality of life. If you focus on becoming just a little better each day, the results will eventually exceed your expectations. Subscribe to the channel and write in the comments how you like our book transfer and which book you want to listen to next.